Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and whatever you're watching me right now. My name is Jay Luke, the owner and operator of the Passion Is Network. I'm also the host of Talk That Talk. Go ahead and pick up any of our merchandise right below when you look at all of our stuff that we have in the store. Go ahead and support this channel in any way that you possibly can by picking up any of our merchandise. Remember, you can get 30% off your final purchase. Just type HBCU band once you get to the pay window. All right, man. This was actually sent to me, man. And so I appreciate you guys sending me a lot of stuff, man, that you guys want me to talk about or react to. So I appreciate you guys for sending this stuff to me. So this one was sent to me and they wanted to get my reaction to it. And so I kind of read through it a little bit, but we're going to read through it today and I'll give you my thoughts. So it says, "Hello, everyone. My partner and I recently moved in together and he is the first year as a band director at a new high school, new to him, but not a brand new high school. I know that this comes with a lot of stress and unknowns as he is learning the school and the program while also directing it. He has a good staff on his side, which is immensely helpful. However, I'm not yet used to the late night band rehearsals, Friday night games, and Saturday night rehearsals. I guess my question is, how can we stay sane and have a healthy relationship when he's away 3 to 4 evenings and at least one weekend day? And how can I best support him? I'm trying very hard not to get my feelings hurt when he comes home hours later than anticipated, or can't communicate, but it's proving to be harder than I anticipated. I appreciate any and all help." So I really think this is an interesting topic, mainly because I kind of dealt with it, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and break this down and break into it. First things first, just coming from, and I don't want to make this about a gender war or whatever, because I don't really believe in the gender war. I really think that the nuclear family is one of the strongest things that you can possibly have, but that's on my personal opinion. If that ain't what you rock with, that's on you. But I'm gonna start by saying this: as a man, it is very difficult to, I ain't gonna say it's difficult, but as a man, it's our job to be able to protect, provide for our families, our wives, and so on and so forth. So us having that securement in the job and doing the job is one of the biggest things that we're going to always do within our families, right? But with that being said, as a band director, I remember going through this myself, right? When I started band directing, I didn't have a child, and I wasn't married. By the time I got into, I want to say it was my 3rd year of teaching, that's when I got married, had a kid, so on and so forth. Really, the biggest thing is, one, if you have somebody, if you have a wife, and what I'm glad about is that she's very open and honest about the fact that she wants to be supportable. She wants to be able to support and be there and have an understanding of the job. There are multiple jobs that men can have where you can come home late, after hours, and so on and so forth. I think the difficulty sometimes is the fact that in a lot of those jobs where you're coming in late, so on and so forth, there's a financial aspect that is attached to it that can kind of offset some things, right? Whereas sometimes being a band director or a teacher or whatever doesn't always pay dividends at the end financially. But it fulfills us as the thing that we like to do as far as our passion, and it brings some money into the house. And I'm not saying that that's all band directors. I'm not saying that's all teachers or whatever, but there is some validity to that. But with that being said, though, again, I think one of the good things is that she is supportive and she wants to be supportable, but she wants her time with her husband. Again, there's a difficulty in that. I know one of the biggest things that I tried to do when I started was I wanted my wife everywhere. I wanted her, I told her when I got a band, I wanted you to be the, part of the secretary staff, very similar to what I watched my band director and his wife do when I was young. Now, obviously, there are more rules and stuff set into place where the likelihood of that happening is very slim, but still there are a lot of people who do it. But I also wanted a lot of band directors, or excuse me, let me Usually I'll be forgetting to turn this phone off, but but I also wanted my wife to be with me on every trip. I wanted her to go on to every game. I wanted her to be a part of the journey because of the fact that I wanted my wife with me during that time. Not every band director is like that. I would suggest that, if you like your wife and you want your wife around, to probably put that out as an option. But then there's the possibility of the fact that wife may not just be interested in band, which that presents itself as a difficulty, because there are some wives who aren't that interested in, kids playing instruments, going to band events the way that we are. If you get a wife, or if you get a significant other who is interested in that, then you have a win-win, because you can bring them along into your journey, and you can bring them into who you are and into your life, and into what makes you excited, what gets you up in the morning, So I think that is part of it. But there are a lot of late nights. With some jobs, when the cutoff is at 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you go home and that's it. With band directing, the cutoff is, whenever you get out of school, 3 o'clock, 3:20, 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever. And then you still have 2 hours to 3 hours or whatever of practice after that. And that does take a toll, because in every relationship, if you have a strong relationship or whatever, you do want to be able to have your companion with you. You want that time. You want that energy. And so there becomes a difficulty. With this person, I would definitely say take the route or suggest the route to your husband in the same way that I did. Asking, can you come along and be involved, or try to get excited about what they're doing with the band. I find sometimes too that, and I'm not speaking specifically to this young lady, but I do find sometimes too that your significant other having something to fulfill them does help too. Whether, it's a hobby or whether it's their job or something. Sometimes when you have stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home wives or whatever, when they're at home, yeah, they can take care of the stuff when they're at home. But when they finally, the hours when you're supposed to be off, they want you at home and they want that time. And it's difficult for them to be able to compartmentalize the fact that I am, they're working, they're in their job, they're in their passion, they're working for these kids. And when they come home, they tired. Whereas for the significant other, they're like, well, I want my time. You done gave your time to these kids. You done gave them to this band. Now give your time to me. And so sometimes finding, something else to be able to offset that thought process or your mind does help. But there are multiple facets in this that really become difficult. And it's just kind of finding out what works best for you and your significant other. Again, what worked best for me is I wanted my wife everywhere. And then when we had a kid, I wanted me and my kid everywhere. So if you watch those early 2012 videos of PV, you will probably see me and my kid somewhere, me holding my kid, or my wife in the stands with my kid in the front row. You'll probably see that. It became a little bit more difficult once we started adding babies. But that's definitely part of it. I think one of the things, or one of the challenges that we end up seeing, specifically with band directors, is when we start talking about families and relationships. Yeah. You do see a couple of them that may just be husband and wife, and that's it. Or maybe husband, wife, one child. But then when you start getting into the multiple children, that becomes difficult. And remember, man, at the end of the day, whether these band directors have great bands, small bands, whatever, building band programs, cranking up bands and all that kind of stuff, if they have a relationship, these are people's lives at the end of the day. And if they have relationships, married, specifically married, because I don't believe in, everything else. Either you're married or you're not. So, if you're married, it becomes difficult to be able to try to balance all of that. Specifically, if you a hot commodity, that becomes a bigger issue, right? Because now not only you dealing with your band, but you got to go clinic over here and you got to go judge over here. So it becomes a big thing. And so one, communication is definitely going to be one of the things. But like I said, for me, what worked for me and my wife is taking her along the journey. And I guess I had a kind of an end because my wife was a band person, but even she got tired of band at some point, and my long hours. So I don't know, man. You guys tell me in your comments, what advice would you give to this young lady as far as how she would or how she should deal with her particular situation, or handle her situation, or just communicate with her husband about the situation? I'd like to see all that information inside the comments. I think we're going to bring this up on Wednesday night too, man, just to be able to get the rest of the panel's thoughts, because I think it's very interesting. So we'll bring that up on Wednesday night. Don't forget Talk That Talk this Wednesday at 7:30. Also, please remember, go ahead and look inside the store, pick out whatever you like. Remember, you get 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band once you come to that checkout. Man, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll see you next time. Peace.